actually picked up the belts and threw them out the ring.
Yeah.
And then there was a bit of confrontation in the ring as well. What exactly happened? Can you tell us, please?
He was frustrated, you know. He's held on to those belts for a long time. And those governing bodies have charged him a lot of money and put a lot of mandatories on him, you know. And I think he's lost a lot of faith in the system. And I think he's started to actually not be interested in fighting for belts anymore. I think he just wants to fight for enjoyment and to challenge himself. Of course, he wanted to be...
What's good, family? Shamanda YB back once again. This is classic, man. These cats have no shame. No shame having asses. Is it? You might tell me what you think. Is it a coincidence that as soon as AJ has no belts and has no prospects of getting any belts, all of a sudden, he's over the... I think AJ is tired of having any belts. What? He ain't got no belts. Yeah, and I was saying for a long time, AJ and Eddie Hearn need to dump the belts and go make their own legacy. Make your own UFC kind of organisation. Especially when they had $1 billion DAZN backing them. Dana White did what he did with tiny amounts of money and built it up. Yeah? Now, I'm not saying is it easy, no, but listen, DAZN's blown $1 billion anyway. Do you know what I'm saying? Who's to say that they could have some real infrastructure now? The DAZN belt or whatever, do you know what I mean? Some real legacy and infrastructure built around the best fighting the best. Because one thing we can be sure of, these so-called governing bodies, they be putting on bum fights consistently. AJ had the power and the clout, at the time at least, to dump the weird-ass belts and make a stand. Now he washed up. He ain't doing nothing with no one. He couldn't make a belt if he tried to make a belt. Oh, well, AJ, yeah, he's tired of it. He's tired of paying sanctioning fees and he's tired of having mandatories. I thought, wait there, ain't that part of what the job's supposed to be? What I mean, I'm not being funny here, but of all the fights AJ's had, which ones would you say that he's been done wrong in? Do you know, I'm trying to work that out. He's been done wrong with mandatories. Where? Kurbrat Oldlev, 40-year-old man. Takam, another guy, average guy. I mean, where's the real bad ones? I guess you could say Usyk. I do actually agree Usyk was a bad mandatory because of essentially legal reasons. Yeah, if you follow the history of the game, Usyk versus Joyce was ordered first in the January of 2021. Usyk versus Joyce was ordered as a final eliminator for the AJ fight. Guess what? Usyk's team started throwing their toys out the pram, saying, we shouldn't have to fight Joyce because we're the cruiserweight champion. We should get immediate mandatory. Now at the time I said, if AJ's team are smart, they will kick up a fuss and make the WBA enforce the proper things. It should have been enforced, bottom line. Yeah, if WBA or WBO, either one of them ones, forgot which one it was now, but either way, whichever one it was, Eddie Hearn should have made a stand and said, listen, it's been ordered Joyce versus Usyk will fight the winner. That's how it should have been. Instead, AJ and his dopey team just googled on, and the rest is history. Now, I'm not so... Why was I saying that? Was I saying that to protect AJ? No, I was actually saying that because I believed the champion, or a super champion like AJ was at that time, shouldn't be fighting all the little guys. And at the time, Usyk was a little random dude. He'd done nothing at heavyweight. And I'm against that. I'm against people like AJ who have 3 belts, yeah. They should be at the top of a funnel. At the moment in boxing, yeah, you have super champions like Canelo, and then a whole bunch of bums who don't fight no one, just hanging around waiting for a payday. That's how the boxing system works at the moment. It's broken. You don't have number 3 versus number 4, number 2 versus number 3, and then, you know what I mean? You don't have a round robin, and then the best ones filter up. It's like, Usyk, done nothing at heavyweight, gets a shot. Joyce, done nothing. And that's the thing. What frustrated me the most with that particular point was the fact that Joyce had actually done more at heavyweight. Joyce had beat Dubois, a certified top 10 guy. Meanwhile, Usyk had just gone life and death with Chisora, and had a pretty poor showing versus another bum, Chaz Witherspoon, or something like one of them ones, some weird ass dude. Yeah? But AJ's team at the time were all blasé. Oh, we're gonna go in there and fight you. And now look at you. Now you're out here, why? Oh, the belts and this, that. You got no one to blame but yourself. If you feel you've been done wrong, guess what? You never heard AJ's team complain nothing. I was the one complaining. Why isn't AJ's team putting their foot down? We don't fight all the randoms. Have the randoms, and in terms of building the most marketable asset, and in fact, in terms of delivering the best boxing product, super champions should fight the best contenders. I'm sorry, but the winner of Usyk and Joyce is a better contender, is a more marketable contender than just Joyce on his own or Usyk on his own. That would have been a huge fight, wouldn't it? Or Biggs for sure. Usyk versus Joyce would have been a huge fight. And the winner of that would have qualified to then fight the super champion. I'm tired of seeing super champions just fighting random dudes we've never heard of. Like, for example, Canelo beats Billy Joe. What's Billy Joe done? Nothing. Canelo beats Plant. What's Plant done? Nothing. People get belts or get mandatories and they've done nothing. The UFC model, the reason it works is people know every time a champion fights, they're fighting, if not the best one in the world, the number 2 one. Every time. In boxing, you just don't know who you're fighting. Oh, they might have a belt, they might have a mandatory shot, but really, I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you how good Usyk was at heavyweight before he fought AJ, if you get what I'm saying. It's not supposed to be like that. And like I said, if the WBA had done what they sanctioned to do, the Joyce versus Usyk fight was sanctioned. Somehow, Usyk was able to weasel out of it, which I don't agree with. End of the day, you were sanctioned to fight Joyce, and why wouldn't you do that fight? Any other person, to fight a super champion with 3 belts, it should be standard. You know what? Before you fight the top dog, you're going to have to beat someone in top 5. Joyce is someone in top 5. What made Usyk so special to think he could just waltz up? And obviously now we know he's better than AJ, but it's not the point, is it? The point is, things are supposed to go A, B, C, D, in my mind. Not, well, let's sit here and sit there. All Usyk really did was have 2 bum fights at heavyweight. There's no way he was qualified to be fighting the unified champion. No way. There's no way them 2 wins were unified champion wins. No way. And it's a shame that these governing bodies can sanction something like Joyce versus Usyk and then flip-flop and backtrack. But ultimately, I can complain, but end of the day, yeah, AJ's team didn't say nothing. And I've been complaining for a long time that AJ's team, management team, are very poor. And it's little decisions like that make it poor. Why didn't you, as a super champion, put your foot down and say, wait there a minute, you've ordered Joyce versus Usyk, do that one. I'm the big dog, yeah? Instead, my name Team AJ and we just suck everyone off no matter what. And now you're out, and I wouldn't mind. Fair enough, yeah? If Team AJ came out now, they've lost the belts and said, listen, we love being cuckolded. We love the fact the belts cuckolded us, and we was just cucks to the belts. Fair play, but the fact now they got the cheek to backtrack. Oh, we've been done wrong. You man was loving it at the time. You man loved them belts. You man loved just being cucks and not taking ownership of your own career. As a super champion, you should own that. In as much as, I'm a super champion, I'll do what the fuck I want to do. Look at how Canelo operates, for example. He ain't taking no orders. In that sense. And to be fair, for the most part, he does fight the best anyway. But look at how Canelo's swagger is compared to AJ's. AJ's was just grabbing his ankles and taking it. And now they're all bent out of shape. It's like, well, you got no one to blame but yourself, I'm afraid. No one to blame. Not even a little bit of anyone. Oh, well, we don't really want the belts. And that's what I don't get about this whole sour grapes thing. Oh, we don't want the belts. AJ, and Eddie Hearn were 2 of the biggest shills for belts. Honestly. Let's be real now. Name me 2 people, who love to suck off the belts more when they had them. And it's just a bad look. Oh, we don't... Yeah, AJ wants to move on without the belts. Listen, you best believe... Do you think AJ, if he had a 1, would have been telling you he don't want the belts? No, he'd have been hugging his belts. Oh, I'm so glad to be back. So cut the cap, yeah? You ain't got no belts to not be impressed with. Do you understand? Having belts and then saying, I've got the belts. I'm not impressed. That's worth something. Not having. How can you fall out with something you don't have? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, imagine your girlfriend leaves you, yeah? You can't then say, oh, I've fallen out. Some people might try to, but in the main, you can't. Oh, your chick's left you. Oh, well, I fell out of her anyway. No, she left you. Yeah? You didn't fall out of anything. She left your sorry ass. Super people's minds, the ego, do crazy things. Yeah? Usyk, not only has AJ lost the belts, Usyk took your shit. He took your shit. And now you're out here trying to do the whole ego defense. Oh, well, we didn't want them anyway. Yeah? Imagine some big burly Nick takes your girlfriend, yeah, and blows her back out. At that point, Eddie Hearn's essentially saying, oh, well, I didn't like her back anyway. You know what I'm saying? Wait a minute. It's not a case of whether you liked her back or not. What we do know is some big burly Don is blowing it out right now. Yeah, whether irrespective of what you thought about it, it's getting blown out. Oops. Yeah? It's a bad look, it really is. I'd much respect Eddie Hearn and Team AJ if they came out and said, you know what? We're heartbroken. Yeah? We were in love. When we had them belts, we were in love with them. And now they've gone, we're heartbroken. That's the truth. The truth is not, oh, well, we're over the belts and we're not really interested. No. I guarantee you as well, yeah, if the belts somehow, some way came down and offered AJ another shot, he will be all over it. And time will tell. If AJ has some sort of career miracle and is able to build back, which I don't think he will, but if he is able to build back and beat some people and end up in championship positions, we'll see how much he cares about belts then. That's when it matters. I guarantee you. And that's the thing. Eddie Hearn knows. AJ is 3 or 4 fights away from any kind of belt. So, I mean, if there's ever a time, you best be not interested in belts. You're 2 years away. So, yeah, do you know what I'm saying? And it shows you Eddie Hearn's a schemer. He knows, wait a minute, we got no chance of getting any belts right now. Because to get a belt right now, you have to beat someone decent. Joyce, Dubois, a whole bunch of dudes, young, hungry dudes, who will throw leather. Dubois, whatever you say about him, yeah, he threw leather at Joyce. That's a fact. And AJ couldn't even deal with Usyk. Little pity-patty shots. Dubois, whatever you say about him, he will throw hands at you for 6 rounds. That's a fact. Joyce, he will jab your barnet off for 12 rounds. Facts. Joyce, cast iron chin. Yeah? There's no... And AJ, I've been telling you, man, AJ knows that. AJ, Eddie Hearn, no. There's no easy routes to this nigga belt right now. It's all backed up. You've got Wilder covering the WBC side still. You got Fury with the WBC. So Eddie Hearn is out here trying to, how can we nizzle our way back to the belts that we allegedly don't care about? I'm just tired of the lying. Yeah, you love the belts and you're a fiend for the belts, and now you ain't got none. You're trying to play Mr. Big Dog. How embarrassing. Yeah, Team AJ going out all the way sad, no doubt about it.